Three of the richest nations in the Western world are quietly collapsing. Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia. Not from war, not from disease, not from some sudden catastrophe, but from within, from policies, systems, and leadership that are gutting the middle class and choking the life out of anyone who still believes in the dream. Home ownership was once the reward for hard work. Now it's a rigged game. A dangling carrot no one can reach except the elite, the insiders, and the foreign investors who are gobbling up entire cities like it's a clearance sale. In Canada, the average home price now hovers around $800,000. In cities like Vancouver and Toronto, it's even worse. Young people are told to stop complaining and work harder while corporations and numbered shell companies outbid them with cash offers. 30-year-olds still living in their childhood bedrooms is no longer a punchline. It's the new norm. The UK is no better. Mortgage approvals have become mythical. Entire generations are locked out of the market permanently. Properties in London sell for millions, then sit empty, not homes, but safety deposit boxes for the global elite. Rents have exploded, wages haven't, and now British citizens are being told that a housing crash would be even worse, as if paying £2,000 a month for a shoebox is stability. And in Australia, the situation is arguably the worst. Sydney and Melbourne are now two of the most unaffordable cities on earth. A modest home in a working-class suburb costs over $1 million. It doesn't matter how hard you work unless you're already wealthy, you're not getting in. First-time buyers are competing with international money, pension funds, and corporations that treat homes like poker chips. And when people try to raise the alarm, they're silenced or ignored. But let's be very clear. This isn't about supply and demand. This isn't about bad luck or temporary inflation. This is something deeper, more deliberate. Because it's not just the housing market. It's the economy, the cost of living, the surveillance, the silence, the slow erosion of everything these nations were supposed to stand for. Inflation is not a spike anymore. It's permanent. In all three countries, the cost of basic necessities is rising faster than incomes. Milk, eggs, bread, fuel, they're luxuries now. People are working more and affording less. Families are skipping meals. Children are going without. But you won't see that on the news. The official narrative says inflation is cooling. Meanwhile, your weekly grocery bill says otherwise. While everyday people drown in debt, central banks raise interest rates and smile. They say it's to cool the economy. What they mean is crush the middle class, make credit harder to access, and force people into deeper financial dependency. And while all this unfolds, digital control quietly tightens. In Canada, the government is already rolling out a national digital ID system linked to financial accounts, health records, and even travel. The central bank is openly discussing a programmable digital currency, one that could be used to restrict what you buy, when you buy it, or if you can buy it all. They're calling it innovation, but the people who still carry cash know what it really is: control. In the UK, surveillance has become a national export. Cameras on every street corner. AI watching your expressions. Legislation allowing authorities to preemptively shut down protests, remove content, or even freeze bank accounts for misinformation. You think that's for extremists? Wait until it's used on you. And in Australia, digital compliance is already a reality. During lockdowns, people were fined for walking outside. Apps tracked their movements, drones patrolled beaches, and now new bills are being proposed that would allow the government to censor content, block websites, and criminalize offensive opinions under the vague banner of national security. Ask questions and you're labeled a threat. The pattern is unmistakable. Housing prices out of reach. Inflation that never ends. Surveillance dressed up as safety. And a population that's being blamed for the very problems engineered from the top. All three countries, once beacons of freedom, are starting to look like controlled experiments. What happens when a democracy is buried under debt? What happens when ownership is erased and rent becomes the only option? What happens when entire generations lose hope? Here's the kicker. These nations are connected. They're part of the same Commonwealth power structure. They sign the same trade deals. They echo each other's policies. and they all report to the same international financial players, global governance bodies, and elite organizations that meet behind closed doors and set the rules for the rest of us. The World Economic Forum doesn't hide its agenda. You'll own nothing and be happy. Sound familiar? In all three countries, cash is vanishing. Debit cards, phone taps, facial recognition. The convenience is a trap. Once everything goes digital, they won't need to seize your assets. They'll just turn off your wallet. Debt is no longer a consequence. It's the product. Canadian households now owe more than 180% of their disposable income. In the UK, national debt just hit £2.7 trillion. In Australia, private debt is among the highest in the world, with many households spending over half their income on interest alone. And who profits? Not you, not your family, not your future. Banks, hedge funds, politicians, tech overlords, corporate landlords. The same people who tank the system always seem to own it when it recovers. And while we're busy arguing over politics, culture wars, and identity, the trap is snapping shut. This isn't about the left or the right anymore. This is about the rulers and the ruled. Your privacy? Gone. Your purchasing power? Eroded. Your ability to protest, question, or even own a place to live? Under threat. And the media? Silent. Because in these collapsing empires, truth is the most dangerous currency of all. Still think it's a coincidence that all three nations tied together historically, economically, and politically are falling in the exact same way, at the exact same time? Housing crash, inflation spiral, e-digital ID, speech restrictions, debt slavery, mass surveillance. Same pattern, same playbook, different accents. What if none of this is accidental? What if this isn't a crisis, but a transformation? A reshaping of Western civilization into a new model, one where citizens own nothing, obey everything, and thank the system for their own imprisonment? The people of Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia are not lazy. They are not entitled. They are not victims of fate. They are being crushed systematically, economically, and digitally by a ruling class that sees them as data, not humans, as liabilities, not citizens. The collapse isn't coming. It's already here. And if you think you're safe, ask yourself this. When you can't afford a home, when your food is rationed, when your bank account is monitored, and when your speech is censored, are you still free? Or are you just another cog in someone else's machine? Was this all just mismanagement on a global scale? Or the deliberate takedown of the last free societies on Earth? You be the judge.